So, Bezrat Hashem, we're less than 2 weeks before Rosh Hashanah. So let's try to study this week's parasha. Usually we study the parasha. Let's study a lesson for this week and for Rosh Hashanah. What do we have to prepare yourself? You have to understand, when somebody, Chad v'Shalom, has to stand in court in front of a judge, he hires the best lawyers, right? He wants to make sure he doesn't get, Chad v'Shalom, lose the case. It can be money, it can go into prison, it can go a lot of things. He doesn't want a criminal record, right? We also don't want a criminal record on Rosh Hashanah, because that's a projection for a whole year. After the whole year goes with this record. And to erase a record, right, takes a lot of money, a lot of efforts, a lot of time, right? And there is, b'shamayim, there's a real judgment. The Gemara says, Kol b'nei marom ovrim lefanav. So let's hear a little bit of parasha. What are we supposed to look for? What are we supposed to do? The parasha starts Parachat Nitzavim. Nitzavim va'elech. It's 2 parashot. Nitzavim va'elech. The Parashat Nitzavim says, Atem Nitzavim ayom kulechem. You're all standing over here, Lifnei Adonai Elohechem, in front of God, right? In front of Hashem, your God. Rashechem, Shiftechem, Ziknechem, Shotrechem, Kol Ish Yisrael. Rashi right away is telling us, is situating us. Mamduba, what are we speaking about? The day before Moshe Rabbeinu leaves this world. Moshe Rabbeinu left this world on Zayin Adar. That's when he passed away. After 120 years, 120 full years, right? The day before, Vav Adar, he knows that the next day, that's it, he's going up to Shamayim. So on Vav Adar, he's gathering the Jewish people, he's gathering the Rashechem, Shiftechem, the heads of the tribes, right? He's gathering the Zekenim, the elderly, the sages, right? Shotrechem, the policemen, right? The ones in law enforcement. Kol Ish Yisrael, everybody. Who is everybody? Tapechem, the children. Neshechem, the women. Gerecha, the converts. Asher bekem achanecha. Michotev etzecha, even those who chop the wood. Ad shoev mimecha, and those who go and draw water to give supply water to the whole camp. So basically everybody was there. Children were there, women were there, men were there, the sages were there, everybody. What is he about to tell them? He's about to tell them, tomorrow is the last day. I'm about to leave. But I want to give you an advice. I want to give you a good advice, right? So you go through the parasha, you read the parasha, and the advice is found 2 pesukim, 2 verses before the end of the parasha. What is the good advice he's giving them? He says, you should know, I'm testifying in front of you, Aidoti bachem hayom, et hashamayim v'et haaretz, the heavens and the earth, achaim ve'amavet natati lefanecha. God gives us life, and God also created death, right? Aberacha ve'akelala. You can have a blessing, or Chad v'Shalom, you can have also a cursing, right? So Moshe Rabbeinu says, Ubacharta b'chaim. If you're smart enough, choose life. Right? If I'm telling you this is life, this is death, you're going to choose death. If I'm going to tell you this is blessing, this is curse, you're going to choose a curse, right? What is exactly the advice? Moshe Rabbeinu is not stam. It's the most, right, highest level of spirituality, of chokhmah, whatever you want. What's the advice, right? Rashi brings down, it says, David HaMelech says, Hashem is telling you, Adonai, menat chelki v'chosi, ata tomich gorali. Enachta yadi al goral hatov, lomar et ze kach lecha. Unfortunately, mankind sometimes do the wrong choices. David HaMelech says, Hashem, I might do the wrong choice. Please make sure I make the right one. Ata tomich gorali. Hashem, bring me to the right decision. It can be in business. It can be in personal life with your wife. It can be a question of education, which school to put your kids, which not school. What's good for your kid, what's not good for your kid, right? It can be marriage of your children. This boy is good enough for your daughter. This girl is good enough for your son. In life, it's every day. You wake up in the morning, you have to make a decision. Where are you going to? What are you going to do at work? What decision in Parnasah are you going to do? Everything is a decision. But sometimes, unfortunately, because you're human, you might do the wrong decision. David HaMelech used to pray, Ata tomich gorali. God, lead me to the right decision. I don't want to make mistakes. So how do you do that? You put your entire life into the hands of God, and he said, God, I'm yours. Let me do the right thing, right? And if you have merit enough, you're going to do the right decision, okay? I want to show you a Gemara. There's an interesting passage in the Talmud. The Gemara is in Yuma, page 35b. The Gemara says the following thing. Men are full of excuses, which means, always when we tell you, why did you do that? Oh, you know, I couldn't do otherwise. Why'd you go there? Listen, I had to go. My friends are there. They asked me. We're always full of excuses. Though we know where we went and what we did, right, was wrong, we're always trying to find an excuse. The Gemara says, up there, not every excuse is acceptable. And the Gemara is giving us 3 examples. The Gemara is giving us the example of the rich person. Or let's start of the learned, the one who learns, of the rich person, right? Of the rich person, and on a handsome man. Okay? What are we talking about? The Gemara says somebody is learned, and he comes to Shammai, and they ask him, we gave you chokhmah, right? Not everybody has a chance to get chokhmah, to be smart, right? Some people, unfortunately, they are born without chokhmah. Just 2 things because they never went to school, or even if they went to school, they dropped out of school, or even if they learned in university, they do always the bad things, the wrong decisions. Chokhmah is siyata dishmaya, is something that God helps you with. The heavens help you with. Some people have this luck to be always helped, and some people don't have this luck, right? But for sure, you cannot have an excuse not to try. You have to try. So somebody comes to Shammai and ask him, listen, we look at your life. You live down there 80 years. 80 years you're down there. Oh, Hashem, you had a good life. You have a good wife, you have good children. You had a good life, nothing to complain about. You know, there was ups and downs, but normal, good life. But the question that we have to ask you, how come you never went to study Torah? We don't see in your records Torah classes. Yeah, one time you saw by mistake, you were Googling something and you saw a Dvar Torah, you saw a rabbi, he looked interesting. So you listened to him, but after 1 minute you changed the subject, right? There's no Torah in your book. What happened? No, I wasn't smart enough, and I was not born in a religious family, I was not educated like this. You start to give a whole Megillah. So the Gemara says, you know what's going to happen? They're going to call upon a person that everybody over here in this room knows. His name is Hillel HaZaken. Hillel is one of the biggest teachers in Judaism. Like Hillel and Shammai, you ask little kids in yeshiva, 5 years, 6, who is Hillel and Shammai? Oh, Hillel and Shammai always used to argue, but they're big scholars, big schools, right? The biggest school, like he had 2 yeshivot. Today, Baruch Hashem, in every city you have 5, 6 yeshivot. In the time of the Gemara, 2,000 years ago, only 2 yeshiva. One yeshiva called Hillel, one Shammai. One was more indulgent, Hillel. One is more strict, Shammai. Right? So after you give all your excuses, why you didn't go to study Torah, why you didn't open a book, why didn't you do something? They said, okay, you know what? Hillel, come please, step forward. Do you know this man? No, never saw him in my life. Did you hear about Hillel HaZaken? Oh yeah, this is Hillel HaZaken. Wow, what a zchut, what a merit to see such a tzaddik. But you know what the life of this tzaddik was all about? Hillel HaZaken was poor. How did he get to buy his bread? He used to go chop wood in the forest. He would chop every day. He would go to the forest, chop wood, come to the marketplace, sell the wood, and he would make a tropic. Tropic means not even $1, half a dollar. Chatzi dinar, half of $1. This was his pay. Now, quarter of this $50 he would give his wife, go buy food for our children. The mefarshim, the commentaries made a cheshbon. How much is a quarter of $1 in that days? What could you have bought? Not more than a loaf of bread. That was the only thing he could have bought. Not water, not cream cheese, not eggs, not oil, nothing. He could have bought a loaf of bread. That's all he could have bought. He gave to his wife. What's the other quarter served for? The other quarter was to go to study Torah. At that day, 2,000 years ago, Torah was paid. You had to pay. There's no such thing you come to a synagogue. Today, all the synagogues, you come for free. No one charges you. I'll tell you something. 20 years, 30 years ago, I came into Miami, and then we publicized the Shul Torah. So I got like 5 phone calls. How much is it? So what do you mean, man? It's a Shul Torah. You come to learn, study for free. There's no charge. No. How much is it? I said, what do you mean, how much is it? It's for free. No one came. They were such tzaddikim. they wanted to pay. I said, what do you mean to pay? Just come for free. Maybe next time we'll charge them, but what do you mean? But in the old days, 2,000 years ago, if you want to go to yeshiva, you want to go to Shur Torah, to a class of Torah, you had to pay. So Hillel, he said, how am I going to study Torah? I have to pay. Half of his salary went to Bet HaMidrash. Listen to this. One time, during Tkufat Tevet, Tevet is around January time, winter time, snow, cold, he couldn't chop wood. So that day he didn't make money. So he came, the guard was there. Can I go please to study Torah? His rabbis were Shmaya and Avtalion, big summities of Torah. So the guard told him, I know you come here every day, but you know, I have to do my job. You have to pay. If you don't pay, don't go. He didn't let him in. So what happened? He goes around the building, he climbs on the building, and he finds like a light, skylight, right? And from there he was even able to hear Shmaya Avtalion. He sits there and he's listening, but meanwhile smoke started to come down. He didn't realize, slowly he got covered with snow. The snow got frozen. He got frozen, he fainted. Shmaya Avtalion, they're learning, and Shmaya is telling Avtalion, what happened? It was a sunny day this morning. What happened? Where'd the sun go to? They pick up their head to the skylight. He says, 1 second. Looks like there's a man over there. What is he doing? Fixing the roof. What is he doing over there? They go outside and they found him, fainted and everything. Almost no life. They bring him down. Slowly they take a cup of tea. They give him a little bit of soup. They took an hour to bring him back to himself, right? They told him, what are you doing up there in such a cold day? So he told them, listen, today I couldn't make it. And I didn't have money to pay, so the guard didn't let me in. But I'm not going to give up on the Shur Torah. Any price. Even if it takes to freeze over there, I'm going to study Torah. So now they take Hillel, and they ask this man, what'd you say? You were busy, you're not smart. Did you ever go to a Torah class? Did you ever come to a Torah class? Yeah, once, Since then, you ever came? No. When you had free time, did you ever go to Shur Torah or Bet HaMidrash? No. So what do you have to say about Hillel? You have no excuse. There's no excuse. Because Hillel, he really went to the maximum. He would buy only a loaf of bread for his family, but for Torah, he would give the other loaf of bread. It's like he made the Parachat to buy 2 loaves. 1 loaf he gives to Torah and 1 loaf for his family. This is how we should feel about Torah. We should not run away from Torah. We should run towards Torah, right? But unfortunately, people, what do you think? I'm not smart enough. Who am I? I cannot learn Gemara. I never saw. Listen, when you go to a new country, right? And you want to make business, the first thing you're going to learn is the language, right? The first thing you have to learn is the language of the Gemara. Same thing. You would go to Mexico, you would learn Spanish. You would go to, China, and you have to do business. You would learn Chinese, So when you want, you do have the way, right? If you really want to study Torah, you would find the way. The second judgment, the Gemara says, is somebody who is very rich. Baruch Hashem gave him fortune, money, everything. So he comes to Bet Din Shemala. Did you study Torah? No. Why? I took care of the business and the workers. Always have to watch out, and I had to invest, so I had to travel a lot. I didn't have time. I was always on the planes. I'm going from one place to the other. Excuses, he gives you all Megillah of excuses. Okay, stand right here. Let us call somebody. They call a rabbi called Rabbi Azar ben Charson. Rabbi Azar ben Charson he was the owner of 1,000 villages that belonged to him. Besides this, he had 1,000 boats in the ocean with merchandise. Right? He had so much, and this is just the little change. He had so much. Every year, he would give 10,000 veals, newborn veals, in his maaser. You have a herd, and you have sheep, you have veals, you have cows. The new babies that are born, you have to give maaser. You have to give 10%, right? His maaser was per year 10,000 veals, besides the sheep, like we're talking about. I don't think Bill Gates or Tesla, what's his name, right? They're even a match to him. They're not, with all their millions. We are talking about 2,000 years ago. 2,000 years ago. So he's speaking about a man, and what did he do? The whole day, he was going from one place to the other. Bet Midrash would stop there to learn. Goes to other place to visit his business, he stopped there to learn. He goes all around to learn, right? So they tell the businessman, no, did you make so many millions? What's your excuse? What you have? 1 million, 2 million. You know how much this guy had? And he made sure to go study Torah. Right? You have no excuse. Look at him. He had workers. The Gemara said, even his workers, the people who worked for him, because it was 1,000 villages, 1,000 boats, his workers never saw him. So one day he passed by one of his orchards, and they caught him and says, hey, you, come, you have to plow over here. He says, no, what do you mean? No, this is the boss. This is their boss. They said, you have to plow here. If not, we're going to give you makot. We're going to hit you. Right? He had no choice. He had to plow. After they found out this is the boss. Hey, this is the big boss. They come, they cried. No one knew him. He was anav. He was humble. He didn't let people know. But he didn't let his fortune stop him from learning Torah. And the third thing, somebody's born handsome. So he hangs around the two with the wrong kind, with the girls. Right? So the whole day he goes take a drink with this one, sends flowers to this girl, this one is on Instagram, this one, they have everything they need today. So he comes to Shamayim, hey, what you do? Hey, Ribono Shel Olam, what do you want from me? You created me so beautiful, what can I do? And the girls were running after me, I didn't run after them. And the temptation was so hard. Okay, stop, stand aside. Who are they going to bring? Yosef HaTzadik. Yosef HaTzadik, he was 17 years old. He went down to Egypt. He goes to a place where the woman is in love with him. She's crazy about him. And the Gemara says 3 times a day she would change her clothes. 3 times a day. What she wore in the morning, she didn't wear in the afternoon. In the afternoon, not at night. Right? Why? She told him, I just want you to look at me. Every time he'd be in front of her, he was a slave to her. So he would put down his eyes. She says, hey, pick up your eyes. She went and she made La'avdil elef alfei avdalot. You know, dogs, certain dogs, the Rottweilers and those, they make those chains with the nails, She made one for him. So he shouldn't be able to put down his head. So he looked at her, yeah. So he says, listen to me. If this is not good enough for you, I'm going to poke your eyes. So he told her, Adonai pokeach ivrim. You can poke my eyes, but God is going to give me back my sight. Oh yeah? So I'm going to put you in a tzinook. You know what's a tzinook? A tzinook is like a cell that you cannot even stand up. You're like this, the whole day. He told her, Adonai zokef kifufim. God is going to pick me up. Okay? I'm going to put you in prison. Adonai matir asurim. Nothing. She couldn't do nothing with him. She would do parties. She would do everything. Just to look at her. Just to look at her. She wanted to start somewhere. She wanted nothing. And the day she caught him, he had no choice. He left his clothes And he ran away. The Ramban is asking a question. What do you mean? If you know she's going to accuse you, right? Grab your tunic. So she shouldn't have any proof. This is the proof against you. This is why she put him in prison after for 12 years. He spent 12 years in prison because he left his tunic by her. Why didn't you grab it, says the Ramban. The Ramban answers, he was so nice. He said, you know what? I was slave by them and the husband was nice to me. I don't want to ruin it for her husband. She is wicked, but her husband is not, I don't want to do something against her husband. So he left it. And he paid 12 years of prison. So now they bring the other guy, come. What do you have to say? What do you have to say to Yosef HaTzadik? Were you in the temptation of Yosef HaTzadik? Right? Did Yosef go to a place of temptation? Never. Right? You went there. Right? Did Yosef look at the woman? No. You looked at them. Right? So, listen. There's no excuse. So this is just 3 examples the Talmud wants to give us. This is the most common, right? Money, right? Not learning Torah, being in the wrong places. There can be other things. But every excuse you're going to find, Bet Din Shemala, they have always an answer. Right? So now I understand something. God is telling you, listen. In your life, there's 2 paths. One path is called life. One path is called death. The other path is called blessing, the other path is called cursing. Where do you want to go? It's up to you to choose. Now, if you chose the right path and you fell, it's okay. Mankind is okay. But if you chose to begin with the wrong path, right? If you chose to begin with the wrong path, that's the not good thing. There was a rabbi in New York. He was called Rabbi Shvadron. Rabbi Shvadron, he was giving musar. He was giving, he was telling people the way of life, what you should do in life. And he was giving shiurim, he was giving Torah classes. And a lot of people like to go and hear him because he always had stories, he always nice things to say. He had a class with young fellows, like 16, 17, 18, 20, those type of class. And they used to have like 30 boys, 40 boys to come to his class. And every time a boy would bring his friends. And they used to love his classes. One time, he saw among the group, one of the kids was missing. He was like 17 years old. The next day he came. This guy came the next day. She asked him, where were you last night? Where the class? Oh, Rabbi, you don't understand. It was the Super Bowl. Yeah. What? Right, the rabbi is doing, what Super Bowl? He starts to explain to him. Oh yeah, okay. So he's telling him, could you teach me to play the ball, this game? He says, Rabbi, you want to really? He said, yeah. He said, well, we have to go to a field. There's a field, like there's 2 goals, right? He says, please take me. I never heard about this thing. Could you teach me? So the rabbi, if you really want, Rabbi, we can go. Tomorrow, 1 o'clock, the field is empty. No training, nothing. I'll take you. Oh, for sure. And you have a ball? Say, I'll bring my ball. So he takes the rabbi to the field where they play the Super Bowls. Not the Super Bowl, but football, right? And he's teaching the rabbi, you have the field is divided. This one group, the other group, there's so many players, right? And the goal. And the rabbi said, how do you get a goal? So he's showing him. So the rabbi told him, okay, stand next to the goal, and you're going to see, in 1 minute, I can put 30 goals inside. He says, Rabbi, I cannot put 30 goals. Even in a game, it's 5 to 2, 5 to 3, 7, 8. No, you don't get it. He says, I'm telling you. Okay, how are you going to do that? He said, give me the ball. The rabbi takes the ball, shoots it. 1. Takes it the second time. 2, 3. So he's telling him, Rabbi, what are you doing? It's not a chokhmah. He says, why? He says, I just got 20 goals already. He says, no, you don't understand, Rabbi. The way to play is you need people to be against you, trying to stop you, right? And you have to maneuver, you have to get around them to get to the goal. Then you win. Oh. So he told them, you think Torah is just you come, you open the book and you study? You know what it means to study Torah? You need so many angels to come and stop you. Come, I have a mitzvah of you. Come, this guy needs minyan. Come, this one needs help. There's a lot of players up there coming down here to trying to stop you. And you trying to run to the goal, and you make it. You ended up in a Shiur Torah. This is when you win. Just when the field is open, there's no game. So we think to study Torah is when the business goes good, everything is running good, right? I have nothing to do today, so let me go. It's Labor Day, let me go sit and learn Torah. It's good. But this is not Chokhmah. Chokhmah is when it's hard, you sit and learn. Why? Because there's two choices in front of you. You can go fishing today, or you can come to Bet HaMidrash. Listen, Labor Day. Listen, I can go fishing every Sunday. I can go a lot of time. But today, let me really be a Labor. What's Labor Day? Come to Bet HaMidrash. Come to study. You know? This is the Chokhmah. When you have so many things to do, and you choose Bachata B'chaim, and you choose life, you put a goal. This is when you score a goal. So to tell you Rosh Hashanah, we have to think twice before coming Rosh Hashanah. We shouldn't come with excuses. Why last year Hashem is going to ask you, why didn't you go study Torah? Why didn't you go do this mitzvah? Hashem, No. You stop right there. Because whatever you're going to say, they're going to have a proof against you. You know what's the best way to do? Is to admit. When you say, Hashem, I'm sorry. You're right. I have no excuse. Hashem, I have no excuse. When you say that, you win. How do we learn it? We learn it from our prophets, the book of Melachim. Shaul HaMelech, he's going to war. His first war. He's the king of Israel. The first king of Israel. He's going to war. Who is the war? The biggest war that Am Yisrael has to make. Amalek. He has to go against the biggest enemy of Israel, Amalek, and he has to erase and wipe up their city, kill them, men, children, the animals, everything. This is the mitzvah. Why? Because Amalek want to fight God. And they attacked his children, so Hashem says, I'm going to revenge. So Hashem is giving us the order. So he goes there. What does he do? No, I'm going to kill women. I'm going to kill children. The animals, I can make sacrifices with the animals, you know? The king, boy, he's dressed so nicely. He's beautiful. It's like, he looks like a real king. He brings back everything. So when he comes back, the prophet Shemuel is asking him, what you do? God told you to erase Amalek. This is the mitzvah. What are you doing? What should he have said? Oh, I'm sorry. I couldn't do it. My heart didn't let me. As a Jew, you cannot touch children, women, It's a mitzvah, Amalek. It's a mitzvah. But listen, I'm not made for that. I'm not made. I'm sorry, I couldn't do that. Instead, what is he saying to the prophet? Oh, the soldiers, they wanted to bring back the women, and they told me just opposite. Instead of killing the animals, let's bring them as a sacrifice. What Shmuel is telling him? Do you think God is going to want this sacrifice? You know what God would really wanted? He would really wanted you to listen to him. You didn't listen. But you know what's the worst part in this whole story? That you gave excuses. And those excuses don't stand. What do you say? It's their fault. It's your fault. You're the king. You went ahead of the war. You should have stopped everybody. The Gemara is comparing Shaul HaMelech as with the next king. Who is the one taking the kingship after him? King David. King David took over, right? And King David has a story with a woman, right? That he really wants. So he tries to stop himself, not to be able to go with this woman. So what does he do? He calls her husband, which was the general army of his. He calls him and he says, please, leave everything and go back home. Be with your wife, right? So like this, if your husband is home, he's not going to think about her, right? What does he tell him? Right? What does he tell him? Listen, when it comes to war, I'm in charge. When it comes to run the country, you're in charge. Don't tell me what to do. What do you mean, don't tell me what to do? But I'm the king. He says, don't tell me what to do. So what King David tell him? You know what, you want to fight? Go in the front of the war. He goes, the next day he dies. And King David takes his wife, right? Bathsheba, God sends the prophet Nathan, right? to King David, and he's asking him, Tagid li, tell me, there was something happened in the city, in Jerusalem, and I need your help. King David was also a judge. He says, what happened? He says, there's two neighbors. One is rich, one is poor. The rich man had a flock of sheep. He had thousands of sheep. The poor man had one sheep. And this sheep, he sheared the wool. He's able to do clothes for himself. He took the milk. He was able to drink the milk, right? And one day, the rich man receives guests. So the rich man says, let me do a barbecue. Orchim. Yes, orchim. He says, let me do a barbecue. So what does he say? What, I'm going to take a sheep from my herd and shecht it? No. He goes to his neighbor's yard, steals the sheep, slaughters it, and gives it to his guest. King David heard that. He was so emotional, he got up from his chair, and he says, but we have to kill this guy. Who is this guy? We have to kill him. So Natan Avi told him, okay, do whatever you want, but this guy's you. What do you mean? He says, at that time, he had 6 wives already. King David had 6 wives. Natan Avi told him, you could have 18 if you want. The maximum the king can have is 18. Your neighbor, Uriah Hitti, which is the general of the army, he has one wife, Bathsheba. From all the wives you have, and the choice that you have, you couldn't choose just his wife, his sheep, the only sheep. What does King David do? He falls on the floor, and he tells the Navi, the prophet, please tell God, I'm sorry, I should not have done it. I'm sorry. Now he could have said, yeah, he was chutzpah to me, and he wanted to go to war, and I sent him, and it's his fault. No. I'm sorry. I did the wrong thing. Maybe I'm right to do what I did, but if you tell me it's wrong, I'm sorry. Says the Gemara, this is how you approach the din, Yom HaDin. If you think you come Rosh Hashanah to Hashem, is showing you this you did, this you... No, you give excuses, Hashem has answers for all your excuses. The only way you can win Yom HaDin is to say, I'm sorry, I'm opening a new page. Next year, Bezrat Hashem, the coming year, I'm going to try to be better. You might be not better the next year. You might be not better. But at least at the spot, you made teshuvah. This is, now imagine you come to a judge, and you're judged for going on a red light. And he's asking you, did you see the red? Yeah. So why'd you go? You say, I'm sorry. You're sorry? I'll put you in prison few months. We'll see how sorry you are, right? You killed a person. Oh, I'm sorry. You go for life in prison, right? There's no sorry in the civil court. But in the court of Hashem, it's just the opposite. You're trying to find lawyers, you're trying excuses, there's answers. Hashem's judgment is different. Don't try to escape your responsibilities. You didn't do the right thing. Okay, God, I'm sorry. Next year, I promise you, I'm going to try to be better. I cannot promise. Look at the prayer of Kippur. Look at the prayer of Kippur. At the end of the prayer of Amidah of Kippur, it says, God, you gave us Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination. Do you know he's made out of fire? He's an angel. We are made out of flesh of blood, right? Basar vadam. We cannot promise anything. We can try, we cannot promise anything. But he's fire, right? Okay. So Hashem says, okay. Are you really sorry, right? So let's start a new page. This is the only way to win your judgment. So David HaMelech says, God, every day I have my temptations. Every day I have, all kinds of thoughts. What to do, what not to do. What decisions to make, what not to make. So Hashem is telling you, you know what? What do you want to do? He says, Ata tomir go'oli. I'm putting myself into your hands, God. I don't know what to do. If you guide me, I'll know exactly what to do. So the thing is, we have to be with the mindset to do good. But what's good? Says the Torah at the end of the parasha, Ubacharta B'chaim, choose life, choose good. What's life? Torah. Etz chaim hi hamachazikim ba. What's good? Torah. Ki lekach tov natati lachem. Torah is life. Torah is good. And with Torah, you can never go wrong. Whatever you do in Torah, you can never go wrong. Torah is the path. Let me tell you a story. It happened here in New York, Brooklyn. In New York, Brooklyn over here, there was a Chabad. He went to university. He was trying to get some people to put tefillin. So he was going around, and he looked at the guy that looked a little bit Jewish. He didn't have Magen David, but he looked a little bit Jewish. So he told him, "Excuse me, you're Jewish?" He says, "Yeah, I think I'm Jewish." He thinks he's Jewish. "I think I'm Jewish, yeah." He says, "Did you put tefillin this morning?" Tefillin? The guy never heard what's tefillin in his life. What's tefillin? He says, the boxes, the boxes, the black boxes. Boxes? What is that all about? So tell him, listen, he takes out the bag, he shows him tefillin. This we have to wrap it around your hand. He told him, listen, in 5 minutes I have a class. I cannot stay with you, He says, listen, it takes 2 minutes. 1 minute, I'll do it fast. He says, okay, 1 minute because I have to run to class. He says, okay. He puts the tefillin fast. He says, say just after me one pasuk. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. The guy repeats, Shema Yisrael, and the guy takes up. He says, well, what's this? He says, you're rushed, right? If you come tomorrow a little bit early, 15 minutes early before your class, I'll teach you. The guy, what's that? He puts me a box over here, Shema Yisrael. The guy never, in his life, he never saw this, he never heard this. The next day he was so, he was so like, he wanted to know, what is he? He's like, Chacham, he wants to know. So he comes and he tells the guy, he says, wait 1 second, let's put it first and after I explain to you, because maybe you're going to run to class. Okay, he puts it, he says, what is it? He says, this is our connection to God. This is like a telephone.
Exactly what I said.
No wires, right? The wire is short, goes up to here, the wire, that's it. He says, what, are you kidding me? He says, no, I'm telling you. You put it on, you talk to God directly. The guy looks at him and says, what, are you joking? He says, you know what? You're secular, right? You're Chacham, you learn university, right? Maybe if I send you to a place, I'm not capable to explain to you on your level. I'm able to explain to somebody who knows a little bit about it. But on your level, it takes somebody much higher degree than me. There's a yeshiva called Eish HaTorah. Those rabbis, the rabbis over there, are the most smart rabbis because they were on the other side. They're like teachers in university, they were mathematicians, they were psychologists, and they became rabbis. So they know the two worlds, and they know how to go down to a person that never heard about those things and to explain it to his level. I'll give you the address, you go there, and ask the rabbis what's this box is all about. He was so he really intrigued by this whole thing. So he went to Eish HaTorah. And the rabbi started to explain to him and everything. And believe it or not, he started to get interested in Torah and studying slowly, here, there. And then he started to learn Talmud, the Gemara. And he was fascinated. He says, wow, what am I wasting my time in university? This is beautiful. This is something incredible. So coming home at nights, he would go to his room and study Gemara. Now you have to understand the interesting part of the story. His father was his partner in what? His father was an ex-boxer which won championships in America. So every night they would sit in front of the big screen with popcorn, with hot dogs, with ketchup, and they would watch matches. All of a sudden, this boy, instead of sitting with his father, goes to the room. So the father is telling, hey, you're not coming. He says, no, not today, Abba. The next day again, he says, what, do you have an exam or something? What are you learning there? He says, I'm learning Talmud. Maze Talmud? What's Talmud? He says, I cannot explain it to you. It's too complicated, So the father said, one second. If you're giving up a match of boxing and you're learning this is something very interesting. I want to learn it. So I told him, Abba, I can't because it's in Aramaic and there's He says, listen, you got to know it. Teach me. He started to teach him on his level. It took a year, 1 year. They were able to finish 1 page only. You're talking about 57 pages. After 1 year, they finished 1 page. Means it will take another 56 years to finish the whole. And there is 60 books, 63 books to finish. But the father was so, wow, this is so interesting. He told the son, he wanted to surprise the son. So he started Googling, he started Googling all kinds of things. And he found out a little bit about this thing. And he found out when you finish a book of Gemara, you do siyum. So he told the son, so when are we making siyum? What do you mean? You finished 1 page. You have to finish the whole book. He says, no. We finished, it took us a year. I want to do siyum. So we cannot do siyum. So you see, his father was serious. He said, okay, you know what? Let's ask a rabbi. I'm not a rabbi. I'll ask a rabbi. Who was the rabbi? The rabbi was Rav Moshe Feinstein Zatzal. Wow. This was his rabbi. So he went over to the rabbi and he told the rabbi, Rabbi, look what happened over here. I studied with my father. He got interested, but we finished 1 page. He wants to do siyum. So the rabbi said, what's the question? Tomorrow we'll do siyum by lunchtime. We'll gather all the students by lunch, and your father will do siyum for 1 page. You know what it is to take somebody like this so far, and he studied 1 page after a year. You know what pleasure he has? Let's give him an incentive to study more. Bring him tomorrow, we'll do siyum. So the boy was so happy, he runs home to father. Father, the rabbi said, yes, tomorrow, 1 o'clock. All the students are going to be there. The rabbis are going to be there. And the father, was in the next level. So they come the next day, he sees like 200 students all wearing black jackets, hats. He sees rabbis sitting on a table over there. They bring him next to the rabbis. They make him sit next to Rav Moshe Feinstein, right? And they do siyum. The guy was in heavens. The guy, Olam Haba. So the rabbi told him, no, what do you plan to do? He says, what do you mean? Another year, another page. Tomorrow I'm starting the 2nd page with my son. Wow, beautiful, continue. The whole way he's telling his son, wow. And he's telling him, please, let's go tomorrow Shachrit early so we can start early to learn the page. Okay, what time you want to go? Let's go the earliest minyan. What is it, 6 o'clock? Yalla, 6 o'clock we go. So wake me up, we go. So they go to sleep. Next morning the son gets up, gets dressed, he goes out. Father's not there. Oh, maybe he fell, with the emotion and everything, he fell asleep. So he goes. No, Abba, get up. No one called on it, no one answers. He says, no. And then he realizes he passed away. He passed away in his sleep. Wow. Right away he calls the rabbi, what do I do? So they took care of the Levi and everything. And the rabbi said, I want to do the eulogy. I want to speak. I want to do the eulogy. He wants to do the eulogy for him. They're dead. So all the students came. So he says, listen, the Gemara says, Yesh koneh olamo b'sha'ah achat. Some people, they had the chance that in 1 act that they did, all their life, there were no Torah, nothing, they bought Olam Haba in 1 act. He says, but this man, Yesh koneh olamo b'daf echad. He bought Olam Haba with 1 page. What chances, what odds is that the guy would finish the page on the day before he had to pass away? He had to pass away that day anyways, right? But he had the chance to study 1 page, right? So the rabbi said, it's amazing. What a zchut, what a merit this person have, right? So now we understand what Rabbi Eliezer is telling his Talmud. Every day you should think it's the last day. Every day, think it's the last day. When you know that tomorrow is the last day, you will do everything. You would pile in the day so many things that you didn't even think to do. But if you say, I have time, some people they tell, why don't you tshuva? Rabbi Akiva, he did tshuva when he started 40 years old. He lived 120, but started 40 years old. I have time, I'm not 40 yet, right? Or the other guy is telling you, listen, I'm not ready yet. Well, excuses. Tomorrow is the last day. What? Oh, the last day tomorrow? You're gonna study the Talmud. 60 books of Talmud you study in 1 night, right? So that's it, Rabotai. We'll finish off by saying that really Yom Adin, the day of judgment, is a serious day. This is, you're judged in front of angels, in front of God. Instead in front of God, what did you do? What? First of all, the first thing you should say, God, I'm sorry. Don't try to find excuses. Say, God, I'm sorry. I really wasn't a good boy. I didn't do what I had to do. Really, I should have gone more to the synagogue and pray. I should have gone more to Torah classes. I should have done more, a little bit mitzvot. I should, but I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Let me start the open page. Okay, now we're talking. We're good. What are you planning to do? Hashem, Tomich Gorali. You tell me what to do. Oh, I should tell him what to do? I'm giving in front of you life and good. Death and curse. What do you want to choose? Life, right? Go to Torah study. Go to pray, study Torah. This is the only thing. You're going to have a beautiful year, because when somebody studies Torah, everything works out for him. His wife, Shalom Bayit, his children, the right education, at work, Parnasa, Refuah, everything. Just choose life. What's life? Life is Torah. But Hashem, you should be zocheh, to have a good year, a healthy year, and Hashem, and always choose the right things to do.